Hey, what's up, everybody? Daniel Gaming here, and I'm going to be recording a video to kind of explain my personal thoughts and details on Resident Evil 6. Now, before I get to this video, I've seen a lot of trash reviewers giving this game and saying how poor it was, and the production wasn't as great, and the atmosphere of the game was too dark and all that shit. So, allow me to explain myself, okay? I've been a Resident Evil fan since the very beginning, since Director's Cut first came out back in 1995. Okay, I was about 6 years old at the time when that game first came out. Now, a lot of people are talking shit about Resident Evil 6 because the game was too dark. It wasn't a survival horror that people thought it was going to be, but Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 5 were survival action and not survival horror anymore. Now, there's a lot of people talking about a demand of a Resident Evil 2 remake because the Resident Evil from the PlayStation got a remake from the GameCube, and that became very successful to the fans, and fans are demanding Resident Evil 2 remake. As a huge Resident Evil fan, and I played all the games, I read the comics, I've seen the movies, I am truly impressed with Resident Evil 6 because when I first got that game, at first I thought to myself, you know, if Resident Evil 6 will ever come back to the original roots and bring back the zombies, bring back the puzzles, bring back the consume your ammo wisely and choose, you know, which scenario that you want to pick for best that fits your character, and you know, if you want to add a new game plus, that's fine by me. But Capcom, if you're listening to this, listen to this right now. We want a Resident Evil 2 remake. We want the old Resident Evil back. We want the puzzles back. We want the scaring back. We want the original monsters from Resident Evil all the way through Resident Evil Code Veronica. We don't want Wavo or the Manjis from Resident Evil 4 and 5, and we don't want the Gondos from Resident Evil 4. Okay, we don't want that. What we want is the old Resident Evil back. We want the old survival horror elements. We want the feeling where you walk into a door and then there's an enemy right by and it scares the living shit out of you. Okay, we want that Resident Evil back. Okay, I love all Resident Evils. I can't disagree. I can't pick a favorite. Okay, I love all of them with all my heart. I've been a Resident Evil fan since I was 7 years old. So about maybe 14, 15 years I've been a fan of, but still. But anyway, this is not a little bit of rant. This is my personal thought and opinions for Resident Evil franchise and also the games. Okay, my favorite Resident Evil game, but I choose a favorite out of the older ones, I would probably have to pick Resident Evil 2, because Resident Evil 2 pretty much changed everything from survival horror, and other games like Clock Tower and Silent Hill and Parasite Eve. You know, those are all great classic games, but Resident Evil is one of the best survival horror games. But Resident Evil 6 isn't considered survival horror anymore. It's more action with quick time events, and you have to experience them every 5 to 7 minutes in each chapter. But each chapter will take you about 90 minutes to complete. I usually beat it in about 40-45 minutes because I already know it by heart, and I already have almost all infinite ammo for all my weapons, and all my skill points are pretty much doubled from getting a lot of S ranks and completing different tasks. But each scenario from Resident Evil 6 is completely different, depending on which character you want to choose from. Like, for example, if you want to play as Leon instead of Helena, you go beat Leon's chapter first, and then it ties with Helena. So after you beat Leon's, you can go back, since they have a new patch update where you can choose whatever chapter you want from chapters 1 through 5 on each campaign for Leon, Chris, Jake, and Ada, which I thought was pretty damn cool. And they also have a No Hope mode, which is pretty much the hardest mode in difficulty. So it pretty much means if you die, if you get hit once, you're dead. So it's like professional mode, but except it's more difficult in my opinion. But sorry, kind of a little shaky over here in the background. But yeah, if you guys agree with me, give it a thumbs up, comment and see what you think, because I definitely want the old Resident Evil back. As soon as you may know, but over here on back here is my Resident Evil 6 wall scroll that I got for Christmas. And you know, I stay true to the series. Every Resident Evil that's been put out has been great. The only Resident Evil that I did not like was Resident Evil Gaiden on the the Game Boy Color or whatever. I don't know. I thought that game was pretty crap, but seriously, Capcom, go back to the original style Resident Evil. Bring back the puzzles. You know, bring back the inventory slot where you have to choose a minimum of your weapons and your main base objective. So, like in Resident Evil Director's Cut, for example, when you first encounter a zombie, you know, you see Kenneth's head falling on the ground, and you choose hand clips, and you start off with a combat knife and a first aid spray. You know, bring back that style of survival horror. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I know I understand Capcom is trying to experiment something different for the franchise. You know, I respect that. I respect Capcom, but not after what happened with the Street Fighter X Tekken DLC with Mega Man and Pac-Man. That's totally different genres of gaming, and I'm not a big Street Fighter fan after Street Fighter Alpha 3 came out back in '98 when the PS1 days. But my thoughts on Resident Evil 6 and the franchise has been pretty much, you know, I'm kind of a little bit worried what Capcom's going to think. I do hope that another Resident Evil will be coming out for the next generation consoles, and I'm hoping they bring back some of the old characters back, like Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield, Barry Burton. But I was going to say Albert Wesker, but he's actually dead in Resident Evil 5. Sorry if I spoiled it for you guys who haven't played Resident Evil 5. You know, but bring back Hunk, bring back Billy from Resident Evil 0. Even bring back Rebecca Chambers, because that girl is freaking awesome. But I just want to let you guys know how I personally feel about the franchise. I've been a huge fan of Resident Evil since the very beginning. I have all the Resident Evil games, well, except for Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles, which I'm probably going to get on my PlayStation Network account, which is a rail shooter, which I think is pretty badass. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the franchise? Do you love the series? Do you think the series has gone too far? Do you think the series is dead? Leave a comment in the section below, and I would love to hear what you guys think about this video. So anyway, before I end this video, sorry I haven't made a video in about a month. I just haven't been active lately on